Alright, welcome back to the channel, and we're doing another album review, and we've got a classic for you. Thirsty Work by the mighty Quo.
They say that it comes when you least expect. I guess they were correct. It's often when you're not going down that road.
So yes, Thirsty Work today, and probably not an album that will be troubling the top of my Hall of Fame. It's all the reviews I've done so far. This was the first Status Quo album I bought on release. I'd owned some of their music for several years before this, but I'd only, I think in '91 was when I seriously got into music, and I got Rock Til You Drop a month or two after it came out. So this was the first one that came round where I was waiting on it. I'd seen the band for the first time in '92 on the Alive Quo tour, and then subsequently again on the Just for a Record tour in '93, where they previewed a song from this album, and I was a fully paid up member of the fan club. And this issue of it came with an in-depth look at the album. So Francis here says this album rocks like a bastard. Now it doesn't, but there you go. So anyway, yes, I unfortunately had a job at the time, so I bought this at lunchtime, and all I could do was look at this booklet, which was rather pitiful and a bit low in details. I didn't like this, how they told you who wrote the tracks. So you have to kind of look at the numbers and cross-reference, and then there was just, it seemed little effort put into that. Pretty poor cover when you compare it to some of the more impressive covers, which also probably coincided with the more impressive albums. So yeah, so when I got it home that evening, and I put the CD in the machine, and then let's just say my heart sank a little bit as the opening riff from Going Nowhere limped out of the speakers. And yeah, it was just, some people will probably say that's one of the better tracks, the more kind of guitar orientated, if there is such a thing as that on this album. But to me it just limped along, pretty plodding and pretty dull. So yeah, I mean it nearly has that cool beat, or nodding your head beat, but it's not quite. And there's lots of swelling keyboards kind of more dominating the guitars. And I think what really sums it up is over the guitar riff, you've got Rossi doing the do thing. The guitar riff's so plain and boring, he has to do that on top to try and enliven it a bit, but it doesn't really work. Though, and Rick says, this is going very smoothly. Yeah, Rick says that it's a surprisingly good track. When it started off, I wasn't sure it was going to make it. It seemed a bit ordinary. You kind of think, well, if it was ordinary, I mean, it's pretty ordinary in its finish times, and goodness knows what it was like before. So yes, that was not the best start. So next track is the first single from the album, I Didn't Mean It, and I always remember the one-line review in Crying at the time was, "Yes, you did, you sad old tossers." Not their greatest ever review, but they've probably, Cove never been a band for good reviews. But it's got it in this nice fetching blue vinyl. I got all 4 formats: the 2 CDs, the tape, and the vinyl. And this has got the B-side, Whatever You Want, and I think one of the CDs had Whatever You Want, Caroline and Rocking All Over the World. And you think, who is that aimed at? Who was buying this? It didn't already have Status Quo's greatest hits on the, I mean, Rocking All Over the Years came out 2 or 3 years previous to that, and it was a huge seller from them. So yeah, I don't know who they were playing for. Mind you, the B-sides on the second CD were originals, and usually with Quo's 80s albums, you know, Army and Perfect Remedy, even that in complaining, the B-sides are thinking, some of these are better than what was on the album. It wasn't the case with Thirsty Work. They were even worse than what was on the album. So this is, I mean, when I got this, I wasn't kind of put off coming into the album, because it's a kind of commercial Quo track. It's kind of the quintessential cheeky chappy Quo tune that Quo have done. It is slightly more watered down. It's not as guitar good as, say, Something About You Baby I Like, and certainly not as Break the Rules, but it's in that kind of vein. It was written by John David, who did Rolling Home and Red Sky for In the Army Now. It's not as good as them, and then he'd go on to contribute a couple of horrendous songs for The Party Ain't Over Yet, so it's definitely diminishing returns with him. Apart from when you get to Backbone, I think that the best song on Backbone is the one written by him, which I forgot the name of. It's got Better in the title. But anyway, so yeah, it was a kind of jolly commercial speeded up Quo tune. It's alright to listen to if it comes on, I don't mind it, but I certainly wouldn't rush out, put it on. I never have a moment and I think I'll listen to it, I didn't mean it. So it's okay. They did a good performance of it on Top of the Pops. But yes, average. Next up is Confidence, which according to this is Rhino's favourite track on the album, and Jeff Rich loves this. I don't particularly. I'm maybe enjoying it slightly better than I did back then, but it's the keys and the piano are sort of forward and really lightweight production. I suppose it gives it a kind of airy, up-tempo pop sound, and then there's a rather forgettable guitar solo, and it's again just a bit bland. That's followed by a Point of No Return, and you can insert your John Coughlin or maybe Alan Lancaster leaving joke at this point. Though that my favourite bit of this song is from Rhino, and it's just that bass note intro. The one note sounds quite cool, but then, you know, after that, when the song starts properly, it's a bit of an irritating guitar riff, really. And the chorus melody, it's just awful, and there's those lightweight parping keyboards. It's just, in the latter part of the song, they do a kind of a cappella bit, which is just frighteningly bad. So it gets, we're not doing well, and unfortunately, it gets worse. Sail Away, for me, is up there with Blessed is the Meek from Under the Influence, is vying for the worst ever self-penned Status Quo song. I probably hardly ever listen to it because I can only get seconds into it and it just irritates me. It's just a horrible song. I'm sure they probably like it. What was it saying? Well, it's interesting. They started it in the early 80s. I can't imagine why it didn't make it onto Just Supposing or Never Too Late. I'm quite pleased with Sail Away. It's quite jolly sounding. Rick, I quite like that. Andrew, jolly good toe tapper. Oh yeah, at least we've got Jeff Rich, not one of my favourites. Someone with sanity there. So obviously, moving on, the next tune was always going to be better, and that's Like It or Not. Rhino, Like It or Not, will I do as it happens. Rick, Like It or Not, I'm not sure whether I like that or not. Well, the initial riff's kind of bluesy, and it's quite good. You kind of feel there's potential in this for better production to kind of lift this song. But then when they ramp it up, they won't take no for an answer. It just becomes more lightweight and poppy again. You just kind of think, I needed more of the old Quo to really see it through. And then the solo feels it's a bit cut off. And then we get Soft in the Head, which is my favourite song in the album. If you want to damn something with faint praise. Although that's quite good. But the rawest bit of guitar is just the count, you know. It counts it in on the song in on the guitar, and that's the rawest piece of guitar in the whole album. And there's kind of two choruses in this. There's the Soft in the Head one, which it starts the song off with, which is really good. But the second chorus, you know, the kind of the Don't Believe in Miracles is even better. So this is quite a good tune. It's got that nodding Quo beat that you want, and you know, obviously it suffers from the Thirsty Work production, but it's pretty good. This is obviously my original. The deluxe editions came out. I didn't really feel the need to buy the album again, but there's a live version of this, of Soft in the Head, on the deluxe, so I nipped over to the Spotify to see. And actually I was a bit disappointed, because I thought maybe in the live arena the guitars would be a bit more wrapped up and the keyboards lost somewhere and it'd sound even better, but no, it still sounded a bit, it was still performing a kind of lightweight, so I might have gone out and got the deluxe version if it had rocked up that song, but it didn't seem worth it. Next up is Queenie. And one thing to say about this album, of course, is that, well, I mean, it's basically come out, I think, that Rick Parfitt didn't turn up to it at all, or play in any of these songs, which probably when you listen to it, it's actually quite obvious in hindsight. And he didn't do any writing, and so all the songs were sung by Francis except this track, and you kind of get the feeling they kind of thought, well, we can't put out a Quo album, which, although I actually suppose they did with Never Too Late, we probably thought we kind of, by this time it's real Quo is Parfitt and Rossi, so they probably just thought, we can't put out an album which is all just Rossi sung songs. We need to like Rick to sing something. It's like, oh, so let's write him a rocking Quo tune. And this basically feels like a cliched what you think is a Quo song, except speeded up and watered down, and it's just terrible. I mean, and this, besides trying to be a kind of Quo rock tune, it's still that the keyboard's completely dominating on it, and it's just awful. Next up is Lover of the Human Race. Andrew and Francis wrote this in Jersey. There you go. It's a bit heavy for Rick lyrically, that is. Obviously not a bit heavy music-wise. It's a bit of a change of pace here, and it's got quite a nice moody intro. Though saying that, some of the keyboard sounds kind of detract from that moody intro. I think there probably is the basis for a good song in there somewhere. But again, it's just a bit passable. So next up is the second single, Sherry Don't Fail Me Now, which came in this nice fetching red 7-inch vinyl with the B-side Beautiful. Again, it's not very good. Written by Andy Bown and John Edwards. I've read in places that it was actually Rick was meant to sing it, but as we've established, he didn't have much to do with the album. Although in the magazine, Rick does say it's just one of those songs that instantly for me is a cute song, and I like that. So if that's to be believed, he can't have disliked it too much to say I'm not singing that. But there you go. It's very keyboard heavy, this one. It probably is a nice pop song. If it had got radio airplay, it probably could have been a bigger hit than whatever it was. It got into the charts, 38 I think. Obviously not a hit with the Status Quo fans, but it could have crossed over into pop fans, because it's a little pop ditty, but nice little tune. If you take a stand back, it's one of the better songs on the album. It's just not really a song that you want from the mighty Quo. Then Rude Awakening Time. This is probably one of the tracks I vaguely liked when I first got the album, probably just because it was a bit more rocky, and I was probably desperate to like this new album by the Mighty Quo, or the not so mighty Quo at this point. Then you've got Back on My Feet, which is up tempo, I guess, and has awful keyboards. I think the bridge and the solo are maybe okay. I don't know. It's not very good. Another good toe tapper, really good hook line, says Andrew. Then the last single from the album, lovely clear vinyl, is Restless. And obviously I remember it was my second Quo gig in '93. Rossi came out and said, we're going to do a new song. And I was like, oh yes, a new song. And then, you know, there was a few alarm bells when Rick put down his guitar and sat behind the keyboards, and then this rather limp song came out, and really it's pretty awful. I think I've previously gone and listened to the original to see what it's like, but I haven't thought much of that either. But it's just bland and dull. Unlike Sherry Don't Fail Me Now, I can understand why that's a single, because it has that commercial pop sensibility. This, I can't see this crossing over to anyone at all. The nice shot of the skyline for the artwork, which I never said with Sherry Don't Fail Me Now. That's terrible. It's just a photo of them in the I Didn't Mean It video looking very pixelated. Just like no effort. So yes, my only other memory of Restless was the one line Kerrang review for that was Restless as a Corpse. So yes, they did have worse press than the I Didn't Mean It review. Then we've got Ciao Ciao, and of course anything following Restless is going to feel like it really rocks hard and heavy. So this one coming, it's an upbeat number, and it does feel kind of rocking, and shows you the importance of orders of songs and albums, how it can change your perception of a song. Obviously in the streaming world, where you just, the album order doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't quite the same, but yes. Certainly Ciao Ciao comes in with a bit of a bang after Restless, but on say that about its place in the running order, maybe it benefits from following Restless, but then maybe just suffers from the fact it's at the end of near the end of a 16-track album of not very good songs. You're just a bit fed up with it by then, fed up with the whole thing by then. Then we've got Tango. Now, when I re-listened to this, because I don't listen to it often, for this review, I was thinking, oh, this one's not too bad. It's got a bit of there's guitars lurking there under the keyboards. It's got a bit groove, and then there's that kind of Spanish bit during it, kind of the tango-y bit, I guess. And I was just like, oh no, this is awful. But thankfully, the Quo had the decency to apologise for this album. His last track is Sorry. And it's funny, Francis talks about how this was written at the same time as Lies, What You're Proposing, and Rock and Roll. All of which obviously made the What You're Proposing album. And for some reason this one didn't. And yeah, not very good. But nice of them to say sorry. I think back in 1994, if they'd released a 7-inch single with Soft on the Head on the A-side and etched on the, you know how you sometimes got those etched discs, so they didn't play anything on the B-side, it was just etched. I would maybe think, oh, their output in 1994 wasn't too bad. But yes, it's a terrible album. And I can still feel the disappointment now. But there you go. So definitely not troubling the top of my Hall of Fame. Each song has a mark, which is divided by 16, which was obviously far too many songs for this album. and I got an overall score, and it went in my Hall of Fame right down there at the bottom. So that's co-holding top and bottom spot in my Hall of Fame, which is congratulations to them. I'm sure they care what I think. Anyway, thanks for watching, and do feel free to tell me that I'm wrong and that Thirsty Work is a genuine masterpiece. And of course, do feel free to go and listen to some Vantage Point, and enjoy the rest of your day.
I never figured what a woman wants, but I can guess what she needs.